excited to be back with you on this first edition of Wisdom Wednesday. By now, if you've been out of work for 10 days or so, you might be starting to feel a little bit of cabin fever. Maybe you just stopped working in the office. Life is still going on, but some of us are starting to feel like we wish we were out in the world a little bit more. And what I want to encourage you with this Wednesday, first of all, is to think about some ways over the next weeks, months, who knows how long, the Lord might be pressing in on your heart that He'd like to develop you. Maybe it's in an area of personal growth, in an area that you'd like to see God work in sanctification in your life. Maybe it is an area of depth as far as your understanding of Scripture or your understanding of theology. And in any of those ways, reach out to myself or Mary Louise, and we'd love to give you some plans to think about what maybe you could read in Scripture right now, how you can pray well right now, what you could also be reading. But I also want to give you two books that I think could be enjoyable for you during this time as you structure your life. And I would encourage you to structure your life a little bit as best you can if you are at home so that you don't feel so discouraged by reverting back to freshman year in college and trying to figure out how in the world to manage your life. What does it look like for you in the mornings? What do the afternoons look like for you? And I'm sure that there's work responsibilities in that as well. But reading can help that process. And so I want to recommend two books to you, and I'll do this each week during Wisdom Wednesday, give you a couple books that I might suggest. The first is The Unquenchable Flame by Michael Reeves. This is a great book that if you don't know much about the Reformation or the major players, Reeves does a great job of walking through just in a really easy, simple, enjoyable, historical, biographical fashion. That was a lot of caveats. Way for you guys to just enjoy what the Reformation was, who the major players were, and a little bit about some of the beliefs that come out from there. This is the kind of book that you could just sit by the fire and read quickly in an easy fashion and really enjoy. The other book is more theological in nature, and it's called The Whole Christ by our former pastor, Dr. Sinclair Ferguson. This book is fantastic if you deal with legalism, that is performing before God and hoping that He would accept you based upon your own merits, or antinomianism, that is the sense that, well, God's forgiven me so I can do whatever I want to do. And actually, Ferguson would argue, as would others, that we all tend in one of those extremes, and in fact, we tend to try to overcompensate for the one struggle by giving it a dose of the other. So if we struggle with legalism, we tend to try to give it a dose of antinomianism and vice versa. And what Ferguson does is walk through how the gospel is the remedy. And he does it in historical context of the Marrow controversy. And he does a great job of sort of unfurling that for us, but also really sticking to the beauty of the gospel in the way that Sinclair Ferguson does. That one's a little bit more of a heady read, but it's a fun read, it's an enjoyable read, and I think it'll be a really developmental read for any of you who decide to pick it up. As far as I know, Amazon is still delivering books and articles and things that you need to do, hopefully without the coronavirus, and you can order whatever you want to do on there, and it'll get to you and you can read. Actually, it'd be great if you decide to read one of these books, post it on the GroupMe, and maybe a group of us can decide to read the same thing, and we can discuss it throughout. So just a little nugget for you. Hope you're hanging in there. Keep reaching out. We love you. Men, we'll see you tomorrow at small group on Zoom. Look forward to discussing the Scripture with you. Have a great day.